Alright guys, we got our trailer. We traded this for a box blade, a little 4-foot box blade. Got it hooked to the mower. We got the root rake on the Mini X. We're going to take it up to the goat pen. There's a whole slew of stumps. You know, some are tiny, there's a medium size. So we're going to test the root rake out. I know how it works. It works fairly decent. But I'll let you guys check it out. You know, how I dig them out and everything. So we'll get everything over there and then set you up so you can check it out. Alright, here's one stump, another stump. I think there's a piece of carpet in there. And if you look around, there's a bunch of these like, oh, that one come right out. There's a shingle, a bunch of these little tiny stumps. And maybe this pole, this telephone pole. I don't know if I want to mess with that right now. I mean, it's kind of wiggles a little bit, but it could be pretty far. We get all these stumps so we can mow in here. Another stump. Another stump. So I'm gonna go get the Mini X and I'll be right back. Well, it'll be a little bit because it takes a little while to get here. It is slow, but it's not as slow as some people's. So you don't want to go too fast, you tear your tracks up. Okay guys, got the machine over here. I'm gonna try to film when I can. GoPros in the summer do not like it. Here's my setup. The quick coupler. be an old barn here. I think I'm hitting some concrete at the edge of it. So I'm gonna come over this way, see if I can pull. There's an old water line. I think that's just sandstone. It's hot, so it's gonna be 110 I think today. So I'll test my fans, but I'll show you what we got going on. I picked the hardest stump to try first, I guess. But it's just, it looks like it grew between a bunch of sandstone. Some chunky pieces. I mean, I'm getting it to wobble a little bit, but I need to get down more and snap some of the big roots where I can break it off. But I'm trying to dig a hole, that's my point. So I keep moving around it to break the roots all the way around and hopefully snap it off. But since it's growing in the rocks, that's my problem. Big old rock, big old rock, big old rock. I don't know, there's a carpet I gotta get rid of over there. I guess there's a water line. It used to be a barn. I think that pole was something with it. I don't know. The trees grew up through it and it fell down and stuff. I was thinking it was maybe a concrete slab right here or something, but I don't think so. It's sandstone. GoPro overheated. I don't know where we left off, but working on the stump. It's bedded in some of this sandstone. It's almost out. I can kind of just push it with my foot. And you can see it moving a little bit. I need to cut a few more roots and then pop it off and smooth this out with a blade and load it up on the trailer. I guess we'll load the rocks there too. I'll use them for something in the drainage ditch or whatnot. It's getting hot out here. It's almost 100 and maybe about 110. I'm instantly sweating, so, and the GoPro's not going to record. I'll do the best I can. Alright guys, still recording, super hot. I don't know how long I can record. I got these sandstones out, threw a couple on the trailer. There's a stump. Stump was a pain, it had that giant taproot. And taproot was woven around the sandstone. So, the root rake works pretty good. You do have to keep a wrench with you because it does slowly come unadjusted, loosen up, unadjusted. Slowly loosens up. You can see it's loose. It's a good bit loose, unfortunately. So that's kind of a pain in the ass. But it's my option for being able to put these other attachments without having to do a bunch of work. So otherwise I'm going to have to cut bolts and make it fit. So I just keep my impact gun with me. Just impact it back on. I'm sorry. This heat's messing with my camera. It's going all bonkers, but that's not bad. Rain's gonna settle it, and the goats will eat the roots and all that. Just want to get the stump out. I'm gonna try to get that piece of carpet. That one was just rotten. It just broke apart. It was pretty easy because the ants sit here and eat that stuff up. You gotta watch out for that. Them things will eat you. I'll probably mess with that big one, just a couple big ones. Got this one, that one, and that one. I'll set you up, let you watch. Try to put it in the shade, see if it'll not overheat. It's actually pretty nice in the shade right here. The GoPro was very picky. I don't know how to explain it, but Alright guys, a little stump work. What I do is I try to just scratch around the edges of it to break the roots and roll the stump out. So I don't have to dig a massive hole. Like, I just disturb the top layer a little bit, which isn't bad. Go rake it out, chop the roots. The goats will take care of that. This stump just kind of poofed. I let the fan run for a second. The only bad thing about pulling in, pulling dirt in. That one was the hardest one. Of course, the first one we decided to do. It was embedded in sandstone, which I want to swing back around, pick some of it up. And then I'm just going to mess with that little turd. I'm trying not to disturb too much of the ground. I don't want to tear up a bunch of it because I want the grass to grow for them. Because I need to get that fenced in all out through there, all the way to the woods. So, which is thousands and thousands of dollars. So. Got the weeds killed on that. We're going to put a post up on top of that little bump, run our fence up. We got to build our entrance gate. A lot of work. This thing's doing pretty good so far. It's jerky. You know, you jerk around a good bit. I try to use the back blade and stuff, but it's still pretty jerky. And I still got a stick in the motor. We're going to build a motor guard for it. Again, here's my, I wonder if I could leave that out and let some air in. My tank's right here, so it doesn't overheat. We're doing pretty good. So far I like it. The only thing I do not like is not pilot controls. Whew, kills your back, but we'll upgrade eventually. And then I'm disappointed in this coupler. You can see it's a little bit wobbly. It's not going to come out, but I got to adjust the nut. What's up, guys? They're liking the new work, I guess. But yeah, I mean, people are better at things. People are, you know, what's this? Cardboard? Plastic? I don't know. But that's not bad for less than an hour. I'm going to pick the rest of the rocks up. We're going to use them. I need to, along these two fences, I need to dig a drainage ditch in the middle. Because the drainage ditch runs between my fence, down, washes out my post, down and back under my fence, washes out my other post, then washes out his corner of his fence. So what we're going to do is I'm going to talk to him. This is my property anyway, but I'll talk to him and let him know we're going to dig a drainage ditch all the way down through the center, and at the end, I'm going to stack the rock and concrete a little swell, and that'll fix both our fences, because it starts over here somewhere. Yeah, it's having beef with the machine. Little blue there. It's metal, you can't headbutt it. Well, thanks for tuning in, watching my Chinese project here. Ow, cylinder shot. We're gonna build one of these. Like I said, it's gonna be about 4 or 5 foot with short tines. Just so when we're done, we can just rake all back. Pretty simple. You don't really need this curve in it. You can just use a square fucking piece of channel. So we'll build one of those. It holds up. I bent it a little bit. As you can see, I widened this up. I got it stuck between a tree, and I bent that a little bit too, hitting the stump. But it's holding up. Eventually, we're going to get ourselves a hydraulic. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Do like and subscribe, and I need to get inside before I die of heat stroke.